Hey everyone, Kristen here to talk to you about the 2024 North Reach. We'll cover what's new, what's different, and what you can still expect. Let's get into it. We have a beautiful day in Muskegon, Michigan. It's about 70-something degrees, the water temp is warm, and it's a great day to try out the 9-meter North Reach. Just got done on a really fun 9-meter session, and I have to tell you, it is a really fun kite. So first and foremost, let's talk about the new logo. Obviously, you're gonna see that on the kites. Now, this is a logo that they've used with North sails, so you'll see that being rolled out for 2024. North has also been working on their in-house material. So their newer kites have this material called NMax, and it's a lighter, stiffer Dacron. So they have reduced Dacron in areas where it's not necessary, but they reinforce it in the places that matter. So the kites are lighter, they fly faster, and they have this lighter material, but they're still just as sturdy. And with that, they've also improved the canopy tension and the arc design. I took it out for the first time at our home spot in Muskegon. It was a north wind, and those winds, tend to be a little bit gustier, more up and down. My initial thoughts were, it's a fast, responsive, very fun kite. I have flown the 8-meter Reach before, and the 9-meter felt just like the 8-meter. It's a slightly bigger kite, but it was just as fast, just as responsive. I did feel like there was a lot more tension in the kite. Granted, it is a brand new kite, so obviously brand new kites tend to be a little bit crispier, fresh out of the bag. We've also been having a lot of light wind days here in Michigan, so I decided to break out the foil. I was happy with how the 9 Reach performed. It was about 12 to 13 knots when I first went out. I was on a scoop board, the 120, and a 1050 mid-aspect front wing. Even going out in 12 to 13, I was a little bit over as soon as I got on foil. I had the kite fully trimmed in. It wasn't too much to handle. I still had fun, and it does have really good low end. Now, I'm not the greatest foiler. I haven't been doing it that long, so that's why I haven't committed to a one-strut kite or a foil-specific kite. And if you're like me, you like to do foiling occasionally, but you don't want to dedicate a kite just to foiling, I think the 9 Reach or any size smaller Reach is a great choice. Now, the Reach has lighter bar pressure, and that's still the same. That hasn't changed. So if you're familiar with the Reach at all, you can still expect that from these kites. Now, I personally don't mind and like the lighter bar pressure, just so my arms don't get quite fatigued and my forearms don't start burning out. If you're someone like that who doesn't like a whole lot of bar pressure, or your arms tend to get tired, you might like the Reach or something in North's lineup. If you're somebody who likes heavier bar pressure, you have a hard time telling where the kite is at, it might not be the kite for you. The Orbit does have a little bit more bar pressure than, say, the Reach. The Reach is really light, the Orbit is a little bit heavier, but compared to some other brands, I know North has a little bit lighter bar pressure compared to some. So it might not be for everybody. Now, with kite loops, if you're newer to kite loops and you're intimidated and you're not quite sure where to start with kite loops, I think the Reach is a great kite for it. Because it pivots so fast and it turns so fast, it makes it less intimidating to pull a kite loop. That mixed with the lighter bar pressure. So without feeling like the kite's really gonna yank you forward, the Reach makes kite loops less intimidating. I was pleasantly surprised at how fast that kite would loop around. Now, if you already are doing kite loops and you know how to get the height and you understand the pull and you want to just go bigger, you might benefit more from a big air kite than the Reach. I have been flying a Reach for a few years now, and I actually really like having a 15-meter in my quiver. In the winters, I spend time in Florida, and we get a lot of wind, but they also do have a lot of light wind days. So if you want to get out in those lighter days where it's 13 knots, want to work on transitions, rolls, grabs, anything that you may not want to work on when it's stronger, gustier conditions, I think having a light wind kite like the Reach is just perfect for that. For me and my size, I weigh 130, 135, and I feel like the 15 is a perfect light wing kite for me. And also with the Reach having lighter bar pressure, my forearms don't get fatigued. I've flown some of the bigger kites before that they feel like a truck. They feel like they're just pulling you downwind, and 15, 20 minutes in, my arms are just sore from holding onto the bar and steering the kite that moves really slow. You know, you have the smaller kites that are great for waves, foiling, and then it's just a really fun kite for high winds. It's stable, it handles well, it handles the gusts well. You can get some good lofty hang time on it. They say that the Reach is a do-it-all kite, and I mean, to be honest, I hate the term do-it-all kite, but it is a really versatile kite, and that is why I have one in my quiver. So what does do-it-all mean? Because I always thought do-it-all meant, you know, it's a mediocre kite, it's mediocre at everything, not great at anything. I think if you don't want to stick to one specific discipline in kiting, if you don't just want to do kite foiling, you don't want to just do waves, just do freestyle, you know, your home spot is dependent on conditions and you want to dabble in it all, I think the Reach is a great kite for that. It handles well in all of those different conditions, and you're still going to have a lot of fun. I wouldn't recommend taking the Orbit foiling or in waves. You're not going to have very much fun. Freestyle, you know, I do mainly freestyle in park, and I have the Pulses, and I love the Pulses. But I have also unhooked on the Reach, and I think it does just fine. It gets the job done. I learned my S-bend to blind on my 50-meter Reach. Since the Reach does tend to be a faster kite, I personally wouldn't recommend going smaller than, say, an 11 or a 12 for freestyle, just because the Reach is a faster kite and it is really responsive. So I would say anywhere from 11, maybe 12, up to their 14 would be a perfect size for freestyle. For waves, obviously any of the small kites will work. You know, you want those fun, playful, fast-turning kites. The Reach is that kite. Any of the small sizes will do. You know, I would say you could even go up to a 12-meter if you're in a place that has light wind but good waves. A place that comes to mind for me is Cocoa Beach. They don't get the strongest wind, but they do get consistent waves. Now, if you want to progressively work into, you know, big kite loops, mega loops, or you just want as much hang time as possible and that's it, you know, eventually you may progress into a kite like the Orbit or another bigger kite. But if you're somebody who wants to just go out and have fun every session, jump as much as possible, do everything else, I think the Reach is a great kite choice. Whether you have one in your kite quiver for those days where you do want those fun free ride sessions. So I think having a kite like the Reach in your quiver is very advantageous and can get you those fun sessions. Or I think if you have a do-it-all kite for your entire quiver, you can't go wrong. That way, no matter what the wind conditions, you're always gonna have a good time. You're always gonna have fun. You could have your whole quiver be Reaches and then have maybe one specific niche kite for you know, whatever discipline you maybe want to dabble in. Well, that's all I have for today. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.